crazy up in the pasture, and no Idaho. What we eventually discovered was the fence cut. And when you followed those hoof prints back to where they originated, you saw exactly where the fence was cut in a 25-acre pasture. And what had happened was they cut the fence, they let her out, and right onto a trailer. And that's when we realized that horse theft did not go out in the Old West days. On September 17th, 1997, she was stolen. 1998, we brought her home. We took her away from a 10-year-old child who had had her for 6 months. She was sold 5 times in 6 months. When your horses are stolen, you never know what happens. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack that's moving around. They may go to a good home, they may go to a horse auction, and you know where else they can go from there. In her case, she was a good riding horse, really fancy and flashy. She went through 5 different sellers. The person who stole our horse was a part-time auctioneer. She went to an auction near our house, did not go through the auction, was traded outside the auction, put onto another trailer, then went to another auction in Tennessee on Monday night, was bought by the person who owned that auction. I talked to him on Wednesday night. He told me how he had hated a horse thief and then called the thief and told him to come back and get the horse he had just bought on Monday night from him. Our story could have been over that week, but there's a lot of things out there you do not know. And that's what I'm trying to teach you today. Nobody had ridden this horse in 9 years. She had issues. But when she came home, every single one of us were on her back. We were so happy to see her because her theft affected every single one of us. So what I want you to take away today is not just something that can help you protect your horse, but you're helping protect your family as well. Because if your horse is missing, whether it's theft, runaway, gets out of the pasture, disaster, this is not something that just affects the horse. It's going to affect you, you're going to be obsessed about it, and it's going to affect your family. Now, one of the things that we've done over the years is provide education. One of the things that really made me mad when Idaho was stolen is nobody told me that this was going on. I was really ticked off because when we started looking for her, we started finding out we weren't alone. There were lots of people just like us, and there was no education. It was like this was a deep, dark, dirty secret in the horse industry. So we started pushing for education. If we have to educate 1 at a time, 100 at a time, 10 at a time, we do that because you're going to go tell your friends. Where a horse is taken from, they're taken from your pasture first, your barn second, horse shows, events, almost anywhere a horse can be. If you're not watching your horse 24 hours a day, then your horse can be taken from you.
This is Odie. His registered name is The Last Invitation. He's a registered Appaloosa. He's a 7-year-old gelding. I was actually at work that day. Kristen, the farm manager, called me and asked me if I had picked up my horse. And I had told her no, that my truck and trailer had been here. And she said, well, in that case, he's missing. I left work right away, got in my car, and drove right out here. We checked the pasture that he was in. There was no sign that he could have gotten out. Usually if a horse will jump the fence, you'll find either deep hoof prints on the inside of the fence or the outside of the fence where they take off, where they land. And there was no sign of that. His pasture mate was still in the pasture, but his halter and lead rope that were on the gate were missing. So that pretty much tipped us off that he had been taken. He's not the kind of horse that spooks easily. If he were to get out, he would stay around his friends or come to the barn because he knows where the food is. So I pretty much knew as soon as I saw the situation out here that he had been taken. The last time someone saw him was around 3:30 on the 2nd. They noticed him missing on the 3rd, and then someone found him the afternoon of July 4th. And again, I was at work, and they called me and told me that they had found a horse that matched his description in somebody's pasture. His picture and his flyer that Stolen Horse International had made were all over social media and the news. So someone had seen him and recognized him and called the farm manager and said, I have a horse that I think is matching the description of your missed horse. And so I picked up my horse trailer and drove right out there, and sure enough, it was him in the pasture. The sheriff's deputy and Debbie went into the pasture and were able to confirm that it was him because Debbie had a microchip scanner. I had given the detective his registration card from home again, which has his picture on it, my information on it, as well as his microchip number. So they were able to confirm without a doubt that he was my horse, and then I was able to take him. And that was the only way that I was able to get him back. Had he not been microchipped and had I not been able to provide proof right away, more than likely they would have had to, I would have had to go to court to get him, and by the time that would have passed, they probably would have moved him and I would have not found him again.
Horses disappear in disasters too. Of course, the obvious ones are hurricanes, tornadoes, things of that nature. They also disappear in barn fires, runaways, wrecks, divorce. If your horse disappears in a disaster, are you prepared? Do you have ID on your horse in case it disappears? Are you ready for your disaster to happen? We have one horse that has 5 different types of identification. Idaho. Why did we do that? Well, of course, we don't want Idaho to disappear, but we also wanted to know how to do it, what's easy, what's not so easy, and how to mess it up and how to fix it.
So the microchip's about the size of a grain of rice. It's fairly small.
Microchipping is my favorite type of equine identification because it's the cheapest, it's the easiest, and you can do it yourself.
It has to fit in the needle. So the open side, you want to do the open side towards you.
Okay. And where do you put it?
Halfway up the neck.
Half up the neck. Watch your arms. Good boy. Oh.
As you can see, a microchip is just a syringe. If you can give your horse a shot, you can give your horse a microchip. The reason too that we like for you guys to see
There it
this
is.
is because as much as I
Now, you
It didn't
notice
matter.
that I scanned both sides because the universal side is the left-hand side, but some people may put it on the right-hand side. So if you scanned your left side horse and you didn't scan the right, you may miss your chip.
We have a NetPosse identification program. The people that got their microchips, you can go right online and start registering your horse. And as you go through that, we're going to make you think about some things. This is the most comprehensive registry you will ever see. You know why? Because when we find problems doing what we do in the field, we put it in our registry and it gets fixed. The companies out there that are just selling microchips and who are not actually working with the victims like we are, they don't see these problems. They don't know what we know. So if we find a gap, we plug it. We just go right back to the registry and we fix it. Another popular type of ID is the freeze brand. We have freeze brands on all of our horses too. We did this ourselves. That's very easy to do. It's, you have to order your freeze brand, which we recommend. You can have people come around and put the brand on for you. But most states require that you register the brand with the state and have prior approval. So it is best to go ahead and make up your own farm brand, have it registered with your state. bad part about a freeze brand is that it's one of the worst trace backs to the owner because there's so many registries for it. Each state has a registry. Some states don't even know they have one, but they have one. And some states have a registry in every county. There are also lip tattoos. What's the pro and con of a lip tattoo? A pro, of course, is that it is a visible ID. The con is that people forget to look at the lip tattoo. I don't know how many times people have called me and said, I have a thoroughbred here and I'm trying to find out where it belongs. And I have to ask them if they flip the lip to look at the lip tattoo, and they didn't think about it. When it goes through a horse sale, you can't see the lip tattoo, of course, so that's a negative. And the other negative is that when you flip the lip up, a lip tattoo over time seems to molt and you can't really read it, so that's a negative. But again, sometimes lip tattoos are really good over time. There's a freeze mark. That is a really good traceable ID, but the technicians that put that on are hard to find. And if you don't have a key code, it's really hard to read. So you have a plus and a minus there. The plus is that it is a registered code. The minus is that it's hard to read without a registered key code. And a lot of people don't know where to find that. There are other types of IDs, such as natural markings, blood typing, DNA, iris scanning, hot brands, and hook branding. How do you protect your farm? Well, there's all kinds of things that you need to think about. One thing you need to do is check your horses often. Watch the patterns of the horses in your pasture. If they change something and you think that's a little odd, pay attention to it. There may be a reason for that. We noticed that our horses were standing in a different part of our pasture. The place that she was standing every day is exactly where they cut the pasture fence. Make sure you padlock your gates. You need to maintain the fencing. Put signs up on your property. Remove the halters from your horses. How about your trailer location? Where do you keep your trailer? Make sure that it's not located near the barn, and put a trailer lock on the trailer. Don't make it easy for them to take your trailer and your horse too. Do you have farm lights, or do you have motion lights? Now I know that they're pesky and they go on and they go off, but the people who are watching your property don't know that when those lights go on, that you're not standing at your window looking to see what's turning them on. You can also have camera surveillance in your pasture. There's night cams. There's things that you can do like that. Now, how often do people come onto your property and just ask questions? How about just standing by your fence and looking at your horses and talking about how pretty they are? The week before Idaho was stolen, we had some people stop by our farm and we told them everything about our horses. By the time those people walked away, they knew everything. If they wanted to take them, they knew which horses to pick up. If someone comes on your property that you don't know, pull out your cell phone and take a picture of their license plate. Take a picture of them. If they ask you why, tell them. We have a farm watch community. All these people around here are watching you go by. And we have a little database that we report to online. Form a neighborhood watch. Talk to your neighbors and inform them that people are taking horses. And make sure that they know that if your horses get out, what to do. Limit the information you put on the internet. And if you take a trip, talk about it after you get back. Or at least put some information up that shows that you have taken precautions of protecting yourself while you're gone. A thief doesn't even have to come to your property anymore. They just pull up Google Earth. All they have to do is put in your address and pull up your property. They can figure out how to take your horses and drive away without even coming to your house. This is our motto. Never underestimate the power of one. And there's a reason for this. When Idaho was stolen, we were the one that started the first alert on the internet. We had no idea where we were going with this. All we wanted was Idaho to come home. I was a mama that was mad as heck and wanted to bring my horse back, make my husband happy, repair my children's lives, make everybody safe again. I didn't know all these people, once I hit the internet, were going to start helping us. I didn't know we were going to find 2 other horses, and I was going to feel happy and sadness at the same time. Happy they found theirs, but sad I didn't find mine. I didn't know all this was going to pull together. I didn't know that this flyer, the last one we posted, was going to be seen by somebody that got lost just like we did in Tennessee a week later. There are so many coincidences in our story that it's almost like it was guided by a higher power. So that's where it starts, up here. That's the first PowerPoint. And then it comes here, and then we send out that one alert to you, and to you, and to you. And what do you do with it? You send it to one more person, who sends it to one more person. And somewhere down the line, one more horse comes home.